Hi, I'm Kais. I'm 34 years old. And the night my phone rang changed everything. My stepfather beat my sister until she bled, while her little girl screamed from a wheelchair. And my mother? She didn't call for help. She screamed, "Pay or get out," then shoved them into a blizzard like they were trash. I drove 200 miles through a snowstorm that night, praying I wasn't too late. But what I found wasn't just bruises or frozen skin. It was the truth I'd ignored my entire life. Family doesn't always mean love. Sometimes it means survival. Tell me in the comments, if you were me, would you have turned back or walked into the storm? Because I didn't turn back. And what happened next will haunt me forever. The snow had just started falling that afternoon. Soft, slow, almost tender. I was sipping chamomile tea, laptop glowing, thinking about deadlines. I'd planned to visit Omaha that weekend. My sister said Evelyn wasn't feeling well, but I thought I had time. Then my phone lit up. 3 missed calls. I was about to call back when it rang again. Aunt Kay's. The voice was small, breaking like glass. Evelyn. My chest tightened. Sweetheart, where's Mommy? She's bleeding, she whispered. Grandpa hit her. He pushed her into the table. Grandma said to get out. She's mad. She told us to leave. What? Where are you now? Are you safe? My voice cracked, but then I heard it. Valora's voice slicing through the line like a blade. Take your kid and freeze, you leeches! A door slammed. Silence. The call died in my hand. For a full second, I just stared at the phone, willing it to ring. It didn't. Outside, the snow was coming down hard, whipping under the porch light. A storm warning crawled across the muted TV. I didn't pack a bag. I didn't even change shoes. I just grabbed my keys, my coat, and the first aid kit under the sink. As I drove, the roads blurred white. Wipers scraped, tires skidded, but I kept going. Every mile, my mind clawed through memories I'd buried. Marlo slapping of when she was 16. Mom saying, "She asked for it. Look how she's dressed." The day of showed up with a busted lip, saying she tripped. I believed her then. God, I wanted to believe her. Because the alternative, that our mother married a man who could do this and stood by, was too ugly to face. By the time I reached the city limits, my hands were numb from gripping the wheel. The storm howled like it had teeth. And all I could think was, what if I'm too late? They were huddled outside a gas station when I found them. 2 shapes in the storm, clinging to each other by the ice machine. Evelyn's wheelchair sat crooked on the curb, her tiny hands gripping an old scarf, maroon and frayed at the ends. I knew that scarf. I'd knitted it when she was 5. She used to call it her hero cape. I slammed the car door open. Get in, now! Of looked up slowly. Her face was a map of bruises, one cheek swollen, the corner of her lips split like paper. Her hands were bare, red, raw, trembling. I didn't want her to call you, she rasped as I half-carried her toward the car. I didn't want to drag you into this. I didn't answer. Just lifted Evelyn and her chair into the back seat, then shoved the heater on full blast. The air smelled like metal and blood. I wrapped Ava's legs in my spare blanket while her teeth chattered like tiny bones. She whispered, "I called because Mom didn't want to. She said you had work, but I was scared." I swallowed hard and drove. The storm clawed at the windshield, but all I saw was her face in the rear view, eyes too old for a child, clutching that worn scarf like it could save her. Back at my place, I tried to warm them, blankets, soup, the hum of the space heater, but it didn't erase the truth. She hadn't just been thrown out. She'd been drained for years. I was late on rent, Of admitted finally, voice barely above the kettle's hiss. By maybe 2 weeks. I tried to make it up with Ava's disability check, but Mom took it. My jaw locked. Took it? She said she needed groceries. Next week I saw cruise tickets on the counter. Caribbean. For her and Marlo. My stomach twisted. 3 years ago I'd wired Mom $20,500 when she said the furnace broke. Then another $800 for medical bills. And now this. Using my sister's child, using Ava to bankroll their vacations. Every time I thought it couldn't get uglier, it did. And all I could do was sit there, listening, nodding, while something inside me burned so hot it felt like it could crack my ribs. It was past midnight. The house was quiet except for the hum of the heater and the soft drip of snow melting off the eaves. I sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through emergency shelters and legal aid groups, planning for the worst, when her phone lit up. O's phone. Blinking red, low battery. I reached to plug it in, but a voicemail icon caught my eye. Just one message. I hesitated, then pressed play. Valora's voice filled the room like ice water down my spine. If you embarrass me again in front of Marlo, I swear I'll make you disappear. That child of yours better stay quiet too. The mug slipped in my hand, clinking against the counter. My chest seized. I replayed it. Once, twice, each word slicing deeper. The same voice that once sang lullabies now spitting threats like venom. I sat there frozen, the sound looping in my head, and suddenly I wasn't in my kitchen anymore. I was 18 again, standing at the front door with a suitcase in one hand and my scholarship letter in the other. Full ride, out of state. The best news of my life. I'd come downstairs to share it. Valora slapped me so hard my ears rang. You think you're better than us? Don't forget who fed you, girl. You owe this family everything. That memory, that old shame, surged up like bile. For years I buried it, convinced I'd moved on. But hearing her voice now, threatening to erase her own daughter and granddaughter, it was like being branded all over again. I sank onto the couch, clutching my phone like a weapon I didn't know how to use. My hands shook. My breath came shallow. For a split second, I thought about giving up, about how deep this rot went, about how tired I was of fighting ghosts in flesh. Then I looked down the hall, where Ava Lynn slept curled under the old quilt, one small hand resting on her crayon drawing. 3 women holding hands under a snowy sky, her safe house, our safe house. And I knew I couldn't break, not now, not ever. The next morning broke gray and heavy. I opened the front door, and there he was. Marlowe, standing on my porch like he owned the air, holding a crumpled gift bag and a bouquet so wilted it looked stolen from a clearance bin. Morning, Kais, he said, voice sweet as poison. I'm here to check on my girls. I gripped the door, every muscle tight. You need to leave, now. He chuckled, stepping forward. Come on, don't be like that. We've got things to work through. No, I snapped. You laid hands on my sister. You threatened her child. You're done. His smirk thinned. Don't forget who signed the lease on that apartment. My name's still there. You want to play hero? I can call the cops. Say you kidnapped them. My pulse pounded, but my voice stayed steady. Then maybe practice saying that in court. Something flickered in his eyes. He dropped the bag, sneering. You think you know everything. Always did. Then he stalked off, boots crunching in the slush. But it didn't end there. 2 weeks later, we walked into the courthouse. Rosalie and Marlowe sat across the aisle, polished and smug, their petition for emergency custody stacked like a weapon. The judge, gray-haired and stone-faced, scanned the file. These are serious allegations, Ms. Vaughn. Do you have evidence to submit? Yes, Your Honor. My heels clicked against the floor as I stepped forward. Item 1, an audio recording, dated 4 days ago. The court fell silent as Valora's voice crackled through the speakers. Once we prove unstable, they'll take the girl back. The state won't question a married couple over a single woman with her past. Gasps rippled through the room. The judge's brow rose. Rosalie jumped up. That was recorded without consent. Sit down, the judge barked. I laid the second piece on the desk. A receipt from the Hawthorne Motel, dated the night of the storm. I picked them up bleeding and freezing after these two threw them out. The judge's pen scratched furiously across the page. Then Marlowe snapped. You think you're better than us? That brat costs a fortune. We took her checks, disability, child support, all of it. We deserved it. The room erupted. The judge slammed her gavel. Emergency petition denied. A financial abuse investigation begins now. Bailiff, escort Mr. Whitmore out. As they dragged him past me, his face was crimson, his threats hissing like steam. Rosalie didn't move. Her silk scarf hung limp around her neck like a noose of her own making. I didn't look at her. I was busy holding my sister's trembling hands while her tears fell silent. Not from fear, but from something we hadn't felt in years. Relief. A month later, the storm was just a memory. We'd moved into a small, sunlit house tucked behind a row of oaks. No granite counters, no smart gadgets, but it had something our old home never did. Peace. That morning, I set 3 chairs on the porch. O came out holding 2 slices of peach tart. Her steps were steady now, no flinching at passing cars. Ava rolled out behind her, sketchpad in her lap, hair pinned with a bright butterfly clip. For the first time in years, we just existed. No shouting, no fear, just 3 women breathing the same quiet air. Ava giggled as a squirrel darted across the yard, then held up her drawing. Us, holding hands under a big orange sun, a crooked little house behind us, and above it, 1 word in purple crayon. Home. My throat tightened. I looked at O. Do you think it's over? She asked softly. No, I said, sliding an arm around her shoulders. But I think we broke the cycle. Inside, my phone buzzed with a text from the clerk. Restitution granted, visitation denied. Justice didn't come with sirens or confetti. It came with paperwork, silence, and a swing on the porch. And for the first time in years, that was enough. As the sky turned amber, I thought back to that night in the storm, the scarf, the bruises, the fear, and then looked at Ava's smile. Healing doesn't look like winning. It looks like showing up, again and again, until the people you love are safe. Have you ever been the one who drew the line in your family? Or the one left in the storm? Tell me in the comments. I read every story,